It's the 12th of June 2021, and I am back here in the Heart to Heart with the privilege to have as a guest tonight, because I'm recording in the night. You can see all shiny. I'm dressed up for my firstborn son's birthday, 19th, and I have Titus Timothy as my guest speaker tonight. 1 year ago, exactly when he was 18, we did our first program together, recording and sharing his heart away. So let's see 1 year later where he's at, what his plans, and I hope our chat, our talk will be an inspiration to you. Stick with us. Blessings. So Titus, please tell us a little bit of your reflection on this past last year. So you are 19 now, you're still young, your last year as a teen.
Boy, yeah. I mean, as they say, as soon as you hit 20, then you suddenly blink and it's 25, and then you blink again and it's 30. But I'm not there yet, so 19 feels like every beginning of every year the exact same as it felt to be 18, but then again, completely different to being 17. So I guess there is a progression, I suppose. Over the last year, well, it's been an interesting year. We've done various different things, probably things that we didn't plan originally to be doing. I'm sure everyone had very different plans than what they ended up doing. But I think that in whatever we're doing, we're serving the Lord's purpose. So we've been doing a lot of interesting things this year, and been actually feeling quite fulfilled. Yeah.
So last year when we had our interview, you were very thoughtful about life. I mean, we are just in the beginning of the pandemic, and so many things were not like, we did not have a clue what was ahead. It was everything so new. It caught everybody by surprise. So what that affected you? I mean, some of your plans has been affected, and so many young people, so many teens that was about to go into their gap year or to go to their first job, to their university, and everything has been. So what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a big disappointment for a lot of people, and disappointments happen. But I think it was mostly about making the best out of your situation. I think, you can either accept the terms that have been given you, become sad and dreary about it, and wallow in your own self-pity because you didn't get to do what you wanted, or you can see every setback as an opportunity to go down a different path. Every roadwork diversion is just an opportunity for you to drive down a different road. So I think if you have that vision for your life, that optimistic view, then I think you can accomplish a great many things, even if it didn't specifically go the way that you wanted it to go. Yeah.
Has been a great joy, Titus, being your mother, and every year I just become like your number one fan. I think as a mother, it's not just a question of being fun. It's a love. There's a conditional love we have. But I think being your mother, it's just inspired me to see that when God has a plan, each child is the Lord. I think the Word of God says that the children are the inheritance. It's the inheritance of the Lord. So you are not mine. You are His, and that was my first prayer when I first heard the conception. You Lord, you are the father of this child. You formed him. You allowed him to come to this earth, so he's yours. And I think yesterday you gave a wonderful speech on your dinner part for your birthday, and you did it in Portuguese. So I was hoping you would be able to translate a little bit into English some of the points. You don't have the script here, but maybe
I can share some of the main points, I suppose. I mean, I originally wanted to say it in English because I don't know. I think it's nicer saying it in English. But I can I can go over some of the points. What I said yesterday is, because I think what we spoke about last year on this program was a lot about growing up. Was a lot about being what is a man of God. What does it mean to be separated, and all those things. So I decided to speak less on myself and more on what God has taught me in the last year. And basically the main points of a lesson that God has taught me in this past year is a lesson of really resting and living in peace, no matter your circumstance, your situation. Because I think once you turn 18 and you're sort of going through that year of life, you're not quite sure what to expect at the beginning, and it's usually a period of time where a lot of decisions are made. So I think I said yesterday, there are sort of different type of people. There are people sort of born knowing what they want to do. You know, ever since they were little, they say, I want to be a vet, and they grow up with that same passion, and they still want to be a vet, and then they reach high school, and they still want to be a vet, and then they go to university, and they study, that, and then they become a vet, and, sort of they have that passion, that drive in their life. But then there are other people who sort of build interests along the way, who are not quite sure what they want, and other people who have no clue whatsoever and just sort of decide to be taken by the stream of life, I suppose. But I think that the year of sort of 18 is a key year, because it's sort of one that interests align, and you have to make choices to where you're going to broaden out to. It's I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way it is. And usually what happens in that year is that a lot of young people can maybe freak out a bit. Think, what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do next? Where do I go from here? Which decisions are going to be the right ones? I think a lot of people can get anxious.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anxious about that. And the Lord was really teaching me about that this year, because I, like many people, had plans and ideas and many, many dreams. And the question now was, well, how do I execute those dreams? How do I go and do that? And that can be a scary question to face, especially when you don't know. But I think the main lesson that God taught me, the main point was sort of a catchphrase that I'm using now, which is, my Father is the owner of all things. I will serve his purpose, and he shall give me everything that I need. That is my new slogan.
Because with the vision comes the provision, and that's something similar, yeah? So if God gives you a vision, if he directs you to do something, you don't need to fear.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think what does it mean to serve the purpose of God? I think that's something more than just your career. Your career is a way to serve God, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think serving God is something above that. There are things that God called us to do above our careers, above our hobbies. Things like the first call of every member to be a minister, every member to be an evangelist, every member to be a witness. These kind of things. And even serving God in your daily, day-by-day life, whether it be, just kneeling down in prayer in the morning and praying and fasting for your family and whatever it may be that is serving God. I think the principle of serving God is putting God first in your life, above your decisions, above your careers, above your jobs, whatever it may be. And when you do that, you can rest, because you know that God's won the battle. And I think that was my final point, is that when you know God's won the battle, you can rest. Life is no longer about trying to win the battle, because the battle's already been won. So all life is about is enjoying the adventure, because the battle's already been won. So you can enjoy the fight, because the battle's been won. And I think once you know the battle's been won, you can walk in peace. You don't need to worry about, where the finances going to come from, which school am I going to go to, what am I going to get a job in, all these different kind of things. You can sort of rest and think, hang on a second, I may not know every answer right now, but I can be at peace, because I know that God's never going to abandon me, never going to forsake me, so I can, just enjoy the days ahead. And God will provide you with all things. And that doesn't just mean material things, but that also means answers. That also means, guidance. And so I think that's really the important lesson that I learned in the last year, and the view that I'm taking into the next year. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow. That's so encouraging. Titus, we were looking at this map here earlier. You... as a first child, I was so dedicated. I think you had the privilege of having a mom and dad who read to you from while you are in my womb, we're already reading to you, talking to you about things. And I always been passionate about the map and the globe and the countries and people and nations and languages. And I think that was so, I used to have a globe, which was like an inflatable one.
Mm-hmm.
You go to your bath, your shower, and you'd have it in front of you. And I would just kind of tell you countries. I would teach you where Fiji was. And you memorized so good. You had a very good memory, which was quite impacting. It's amazing. Every child has. It's just a question of parents doing the input. And you would I would ask you countries around the world. You just put your finger there. That's Fiji. And you grow up with passion for the nations. No? So when you look at the map, how is your heart towards the globe, because when you look at this, we see people. We don't see just the geographic.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to go to lots of different places for whatever reasons they may be. But I've also loved different dialects and different languages, and I think one of my goals for this life is to learn at least 10. I think not learning at least 10 would be disappointing.
I think your great-grandfather from your father's side, great-grandfather John Stevens.
Yep.
He spoke 7 or 8 languages.
So I've got to do better. Yeah,
you have a little.
It's in the blood
inspiration
somewhere.
there.
It's in the blood there somewhere. But yeah, there are various places that I'd like to see, not just because of their natural beauty, but justly because of the people there as well. And I just like the sensation of going out on an adventure, venturing outside of the comfort that is home and going to a place that is completely unknown to you.
That sounds quite a missionary life.
It does sound quite missionary life, doesn't it?
I never kind of forced upon you or even kind of you need to be a missionary, because you have been a missionary from the moment you were born. We were traveling around the world, and that has been like our lifestyle. And the joy of being a missionary is not that it's like a profession or it's just a career that you kind of retired and you work because you have your money done and then you can now retire. It's missionaries to have a mission in life, is to have a purpose, to live. From the day you were born to the day he calls us home. So we are living days that we can't skip our work, our mission. Many people has lost their jobs and they are now feeling hopeless, completely lost, because they don't know what to do, because that was their life and now they no longer can go to their job. But when you understand that you have a mission, then it's a different lifestyle. You wake up and say, who are the people the Lord wants me to impact today? I am here on earth to serve. I'm here on earth to help. I'm here on earth to be a channel of God's love, God's compassion, God's grace. And I see lots of that in you when it comes to your heart towards people. I want you to talk a little bit about your mission, heart, but also like the project in this. Exactly in the middle of the pandemic, we have contact with Horse for Orphans, which is a different type of mission. So talk in that line of...
Well, I think, the Great Commission sort of thing that Jesus left behind for us to do, sort of preach the gospel, take care of the widows and orphans. And, I think these are just sort of 3 such basic things that...
Love your God with all your heart, so it's the first
No,
thing.
I know. I'm talking more about sort of...
The calling.
Mm-hmm. And, these are the 3 things that need to be in the heart of every evangelist, every missionary, is to preach the gospel, take care of the widows and the orphans, And I think that's what in the past year we've been really trying to involve ourselves as much as possible. And we've always been very involved in the evangelistic part, and we are more and more now. Amazingly, during this time of pandemic, we've managed to raise funds and an international team. We now have representative evangelists in 14 nations who are all locals. So we're not sending out Brazilians or Englishmen to other nations. We're getting locals from nations, training them and supporting them in their own countries, which in my opinion is the best type of evangelist, because it just resolves so many problems: the culture problem, the language issue, the governmental issues, everything, and the people issue as well, because it means, they're there, it's their people, so they have a calling for their people. And I mean, we've got guys in
India.
Kazakhstan, we've got 2 guys in India, we've got a guy in Pakistan, a guy in Bangladesh, a guy in Nepal. We have 2 guys in Pakistan. We have a guy down in Zambia. We have a guy in Angola, and a guy in Turkey now. So
wow, that's so amazing,
and a couple more, which I've probably forgotten. But yeah, so we've managed to branch out, and we're trying to reach as many people as possible through that way. But also, like you said, we've broadened our ministry now, rightly so, that we can take care of the orphans and the widows. And we came in contact with a couple of years ago a ministry here in Goiás called Horse for Orphans, and Larson Smith is the founder. And we immediately sort of fell in love with the project and with her and with everything, and have now become a real part of it. And we absolutely love it. We go there every week, and it's for those of you who don't know what Horse for Orphans is, it's an institution.
It's a project.
It's a project that's been set up. Charity project that's been set up to help orphans, and every week we receive a group of orphans on the small farm, and we teach them how to ride, we teach them how to take care of horses, we teach them principles of leadership, but we also preach the gospel to them, we minister into their lives, and we just have powerful moments.
The healing side.
And the healing side as well, because we have emotional healing there, and spiritual healing. I mean, we've seen kids come through the door who are violent, who are angry, who are, just worse than hate life, hate themselves. Because I think a mentality that you see a lot in orphan kids, or even kids that have been abandoned, because there are a lot of kids who aren't specifically orphans but have been rejected by their parents, it's that thing in their mind, man, I must be so terrible because even my parents don't want me. And a lot of kids have come through the door with that mentality, and it's just been absolute joy, absolute pleasure to see these kids completely transformed, completely changed. I mean, when I first arrived and did a Saturday session with them, remember they sort of came in and they all sort of sat on the chairs and they were all very quiet. They didn't really want to talk to us. And, we tried to interact and we tried to sort of hug and smile, and they would sort of be there and they would fight and we'd have to break up fights and all this kind of thing. And then, today I arrived late, and as soon as I opened the door, sort of 3 of them came running at me and jumped on me. And then they found out it was my birthday, and the whole, I think 7 or 8 of them piled on top of me. And these are little kids. They jumped. So yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic just to see the transformation in their lives. And interestingly enough, even through this project, we've been helping the widows as well, because so many widows have come to be involved as well, because either they're taking their own children or they themselves have through us, got to know the project and wanted to help and share that motherliness with the orphans. So it sort of fed into each other, and it's been a wonderful experience.
So rewarding, and even the response we are having overseas as well for the project, because some of people have seen our videos and clips and getting really wanting to come to Brazil to help in the project, which you are very welcome, because it's a project that is open for volunteers, for people that wants to give your holidays here in Brazil to help with the project. It's open for all sorts of...
To learn about horsemanship, to learn how to minister to children, all that.
Because actually whatever gift you have is going to be a real blessing to the children, to the project.
Absolutely. So, whether it be worship, whether it be teaching, whatever it is.
Titus, what more would you like to say to the young people out there who are feeling a little bit lost? coming back to your speech last night, I think there is a conclusion that you gave to us, like that brought hope to everybody, because there is nobody that should not have hope in Christ. So there are many young people there that are a little bit needing, to have a light that there is hope beyond just the material.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to what I said about peace, and like you're saying, there's a hope beyond that which is material. I think I said there are two types of lives that you're offered. Jesus says that you cannot serve God and mammon, and mammon means spirit of money, but it also means what it really means is sort of materialism. And Jesus is basically saying, in life you have sort of two options of how you're going to live your life. You're going to either live your life in service of God, or you're going to live your life in service of what is material, in service of mammon. You can't chase both because they're going in different directions. Either you're going to chase the things of this earth, and you can still be saved. You can be saved, you can know Christ, but still chase the things of this earth. But I've got news for you: as soon as you pass away, it's all going to be left behind, and you're going to arrive in heaven, with nothing in your hands. And or you can do your life in service of God. And I think a lot of people are afraid of doing this because there's this mentality that if I serve God, I'm going to be poor. If I serve God, I'm going to have to live in a mud hut in a jungle somewhere because, God's going to tell me to go to some Indians. No. I think this is actually kind of sad for me because I wish there still was that kind of thing to do. But there really isn't anymore. There isn't really.
Maybe there is,
well,
but it's
I don't
difficult.
think so. I don't think so. There isn't. Of course, there are remote places, and of course, there are places that still need the gospel. But it's not quite the same thing as, for instance, I'm reading a book called Peace Child, written by Don Richardson, who was a man who took his wife and his literally new infant-born baby to what was back then Belgian New Guinea, which is now Papua New Guinea. Sorry, was it Belgian or Dutch New Guinea? To the tribe of cannibals. And, they were the first white men there, and they built a house there, and they had to sort of have this interaction with all the tribes. And I think a lot of people have that mentality of that's what serving God is. But it's not. That's not, well, it is serving God, but that's not what the phrase means. Serving God is like what I said before. Serving God is placing the things of God first in your life. And I think when you place the callings of God first in your life, when you live a life that is purpose-driven towards what He wants for your life, then all the other things will follow. Because, like I said, God is the owner of everything. It's the same principle, like people are trying to fight a battle that's already been won. It doesn't make much sense. You're going to fight your whole life just to reach the end and find out that you didn't need to be fighting. So you're going to spend your whole life chasing material things, chasing the fame, chasing the fortune, arriving at the end and realizing that you already had it all, and you sort of spent your whole life chasing it. So when you serve God, when you follow the purpose of God for your life, He's the owner of all things, and He's going to give you everything that you need and more. So when you have that in your mind, then you can live in peace. You can have hope for tomorrow. You don't need to be worried all the time. Of course, you've got to make hard decisions. Of course, you've got to go out there and you've got to work and strive to accomplish all that you want to accomplish. But you can do that knowing that your Father already won. Your Father already owns it all, and that you're going to win because your Father's won. So yeah, I think that's the real message I have for people this interview here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Titus. It's been a great honor to have you back here. I didn't ask personal things, because you are now 19. It's coming to the age where many young men are already looking for girlfriends and things like that. So how is for you being 19 but being very very conscious that you are not an ordinary, I would say. You always see yourself Many people can do that, but I don't, because I don't need to. I don't need to do something because everybody's doing it. But that doesn't mean you don't have a heart, you don't have a feeling, you don't have desires, you don't have temptations. You are a normal person, but you have made some decisions to wait upon the Lord. So how is your heart regarding to this future area of...
Yes. Next
I caught you. Well, watch the next program. Maybe we can get something out.
Come back to me in a year. Let's find out.
Yes, maybe 1 year or two.
Maybe more.
But what I want to, because it's a program that I hope some young people are looking and watching, have hope. You have talents inside of you that are so enough, so perfect and sufficient to give you a future. Don't look for people, don't look for another country, another place that you will give you maybe an opportunity. The opportunity is inside of you. You can be an innovator, you can be como que fala empreendedor in English? When you can start your own business. Yes, entrepreneur. You can start your own business. Here in our house we're working things out that out of our family we're able to create a way to have business that is part of our mission, is part of our calling, but at the same time we are using it from within and bringing it out. So have hope, have moments of reflection, think who I am, what do I have that can be just because sometimes doesn't need to be a massive intelligence. You can just have a simple making cake, so making lemonade that we are talking about. You don't want to talk about that, but you can. I'm just making a joke, but you have something inside of you that is worth it. You can value it. Give value to yourself. Don't reduce the value that is inside of you, and you will get through. Then, if the Lord has brought us this far, our lives are in His hand. 1 year ahead, we don't know what's going to happen this next year, but we know that right now, the 12th of June, we have an opportunity to say, I'm sorry, Lord, forgive me, thank you, Lord, I am here, I'm available, and help me to fulfill your call in our lives. Yeah.